Hi, this is Trem with UGX-mods.com, and I'm going to talk about my new release, Trem Bank version 2.0. I'm going to go over the new features, and I'm going to go over the new menus that it has, and I'm going to go over how to install it. This will be posted on the wiki as a tutorial supplement, so that I don't have to write a whole long tutorial on how to install. So, here's the new script. When you download it, you're going to get a 153 line script, whereas the old Trem Bank script was, I think, about 500 lines, which is ridiculous. It was one of my first scripts, definitely my first script I ever released, and it was probably my worst. So I went ahead and I just started with a clean slate and just rewrote the entire script from ground up. I didn't use any basically the only idea I took from the old Trem Bank, well, not idea is the wrong word. The only code I took from the first version of the bank was all these settings at the top. The rest was completely rewritten. So when you download this script and install it to your map, you'll probably be satisfied with the default settings of the bank, but I'm going to go ahead and go through them for anyone that might want to change them, and just so you're aware of them. The first feature that you might want to disable is withdrawal penalties, and what that means is when the player is playing your map, withdraw money a certain amount of times that you specify here from the bank. It doesn't have to be consecutive, it's just total, and it's all the players, not just one. If you have this enabled and they reach the limit you set this to, they'll be locked out of the bank for this amount of time, which by default is 60 seconds. So it's kind of like a penalty if they're using the bank a bit too many times, or just for gameplay. Maybe they withdraw twice and they have to wait 30 seconds, so they think twice about when they use the bank, and maybe they'll get pissed off if somebody uses the bank without asking first or whatever. And then the second feature is interest, which when players leave money in the bank and the bank total rises up, they'll gain interest on the money they leave in the bank every 120 seconds by default, which is 2 minutes. You can change that obviously, or you can disable it entirely. You can also change the percent of interest they get. By default, it's 10%. So if they leave $1,000, if they've got $1,000 in the bank right when this 120 seconds is up, it'll take 10% of 1,000, which is 100, add it to 1,000, and their new bank total will be 1,100 points. So that's what the interest does. Controls freeze by default is false. I'm not sure if I'm going to leave this in the final release. I'm not sure if it's even necessary, but basically it's a true or false that allows the, you know what, I don't need this. You won't see this in the final release. Ignore it. Menu type. This is a new feature. There'll be mouse menus and keyboard menu. There is a mouse menu and a keyboard menu. By default, it's set to the mouse. Basically, I made a completely new menu that's totally different. It doesn't look like anyone else's menu. It doesn't look like the music box or anything. It's my own design that I did. And the mouse version is completely button based, and allows the player to move a mouse on buttons exactly like you would on the main menu. It's this little window that pops up. I'll show it later in the video. And then the keyboard version is an identical menu, but the way you control it is the more traditional, more used way of, press 1 to deposit, press 2 to withdraw, press 1 to deposit 1,000 points, etc., etc. You use the keyboard to control it. It's totally your preference which one you want to use. And then there's announce balance, which is basically if you change this to false, it will silence the bank, except for when someone tries to withdraw more money that's in the bank, or let's see, what else would it say? Basically, if you have this to true, you're going to see a print every time someone deposits or withdrawals that says this player, and it shows their player name. This player deposited this amount of points and the balance is now this much, or this player took this many points and now it's this much. You can, if this is true, you'll see that. If it's false, you won't see that. You also won't see when you gain interest. It basically just makes the bank print less. Maybe your map has a lot of prints and you don't want the bank pushing them off the screen, or maybe you just find them annoying and you want them gone. So you can change that to false if you don't want to see a lot of prints. Basically, it's only going to print when someone does something that they can't do, or if the withdrawal limit is hit. And then there's wait for notify, notify string, which are all part of a new feature which basically allows the bank to remain disabled until something happens that is specified by the person installing the bank. So basically, by default it's disabled, but if you were to enable it, the default notify it waits for is electricity on, which is the notify that is sent by the power switch when it's flipped, that lets the perks know that they're now turned on, or that they're now able to turn on because there's power. So essentially, if you enabled this and didn't change any other features, the game would start, players would find the bank, and they'd see this as the hint string: power must be on. And then if they go flip the power switch, the hint string will change to the default, which is press F to use the bank, and it shows the balance in the hint string. But for instance, if you wanted to change this, if you're savvy, the phone's ringing. Ignore that. If you're savvy with scripts, you can change this notify. Let's say maybe you wanted the players to have to find a key before they could use the bank. You could change this to key found, and you could change the hint string to you must find the bank key. And then you wrote a little script that spawns a key somewhere, and then when they press F on the key, the trigger sends a notify of key found, and once they get that key, the bank is enabled. Or you could have them take the key, bring it back to the bank, and once they walk into a trigger in front of the bank, that trigger sends the key found notify. So it's like they had to use the key at the bank to change it. Although, well, yeah. So you can set that up. This also shouldn't be here. This was just for testing purposes. So it's actually a 148 line script. So anyway, those are the settings. Now I'm going to show you the in-game examples of the two different menus and how they work, and then I'm going to show you how to install this. Okay, so
imagine that. We need to turn the power on. How original.
This is 13, what the hell? Oh, there we go. Now it's 100. Another thing that's changed that I forgot to mention is that the bank now supports multiple locations. But anyway, this is what the mouse menu looks like. So you have minus, these are my special, well no, I'll have these buttons in the release, but this is my special mouse, so I don't expect the mouse to show up. So you can go through the menu here and use the bank. Okay, so now this is the keyboard menu.
Why don't someone go turn the power on?
Same options, just press 1. And then you have all your options. Press 7, press 2, press 1, 1, 6. Oh, I don't have money, but there you go. Whichever one you like, obviously. Okay, so now I'm going to go over how to install this. Installation is really simple. I haven't written a README up yet, so I won't follow that, but the README will follow this. Basically, it's as simple as adding a line to your map GSC, which is located in Call of Duty World at War root directory, and then you go into mods, and then your mod name, and then oh shit. You go into COD root, and then you go into raw maps, find your map's name. In this case, it's facility for me. Open it. Scroll all the way down to this. Do a Control F for this main. I'll have it in the README. But you go before that. You have these two lines, or just one if you're only going to use one of the menus, which is pre-cache menu, and then Trem Bank mouse or Trem Bank keyboard, depending on which one you want to use. I have both because I was using both. And you won't have this line or that line or these. But then you have this line after zombie mode main, which is level thread maps Trem Bank 2 : bank. And what that does is that starts the function in my bank script that makes the magic happen. So once you add those two lines, theoretically the script's going to work now, but you won't be able to see the menu. So what you have to do is you have to go into your launcher, go to the mod builder tab, go to your map here, and then in the fast file box you want to add, these will also be in the README, menu file, comma, UI / trem bank mouse or keyboard menu. And you want to also add material, comma, Trem Bank BG, so that the background image shows up. And once you add those, you're good to go for that. But you also need to add a few files to your mod. First of all, you need to go to raw UI script menus, and you want to drop Trem Bank keyboard or Trem Bank mouse into your UI script menus folder, not your mod folder. It has to go into the raw one. And then you go into mods, your map, and then there's an image to add, trembankbg.iwi, and then there's a material to add into the materials folder, which is the same name. And once you've added both of those, you go back into launcher and you refresh your file list over here, and you want to check the boxes. Oh, you also add the Trem Bank script to the maps folder here. It's right here, trembank2.gsc. So you want to go over here and you want to make sure that Trem Bank BG is checked and trembank2.gsc is checked, and Trem Bank BG, the material, is checked, and you want to make sure both of these boxes are checked. Then click Build Mod, and then you're good to go. Thanks for watching this tutorial. Email me at Terminator@ugx-mods.com for help, or you can find me on Xfire. My name there is also Terminator. All that contact info will also be in the README. Have a nice day.